Okay, looking at JWN here, I might get filled here in the next second if it keeps moving down for me. I got a lot in the way here, but just at the same time here, we could go long instead. I'm not really sure which way it's wanting to go right now. It kind of keeps resetting itself here over and over again. I'm not sure which way it wants to move just yet, because either way that it breaks out here, it could be a long or a short. So I'm going to have both in, because it's probably going to make a move here eventually. Just could be one way or the other. I was just a penny away from getting triggered. Okay, I am short at 68 right now. I'm going to see a move down. Very nice move so far. Looks like we might hit a little problem here at the 50s. Oh wow. Stop loss will be a close above all of this mess in here, but it's got a lot of resistance right now, so I'm still pretty confident in it. Wow. Well, it could still be setting up. Okay. Alright, I don't like what it's doing. It's moving all over the place here. I still have my long order in though. On a bigger time frame, it's showing me that it wants to go long. So we got risk of 74 in at 84. $67. Could go either way. I really struggled to break that 83 mark up here, so 5-minute bar is about to close too. So if it wants to get bought up, it's gonna buy up right here, but I just got put in, so I'm short again.
CDLG.
Stop loss above all this mess, so 77. And we finally had a 5-minute bar closing below the VWAP, which is a good sign.
MMO. OMC. TCG.
We got a little bit of a move here. Definitely want to see more.
CDLG.
Still hasn't done anything wrong. There's a lot of buyers right below the 60s here. So he's out of the way. Still getting bought up. Volume's increasing.
TCG.
Got 20 more seconds here. That's a good sign. Went up to retest, came right back. Come on, let's see a breakdown.
JAVL.
Five minutes slowly trending down, so in fact I just want to see what this line looks like here. Yeah, still kinda sitting around there. Jeez. I'm gonna give it one more trade because it still hasn't really made a move yet.
JAVL.
Still doesn't look bad for both, so I can't believe I would take this thing for a short again. I'll get in at 80, close or stop loss below the close of the VWAP here. Profit target's the whole number. And if not 80, then it's gonna be 250 at 62, and then the rest at 58.
MTSI, MTSI.
Cause this thing is driving me crazy. It could go anywhere at this point. I'm short one more time. A little bit at 61, looking to add the rest if it finally breaks underneath the 60. Not going full size right off the bat. There is a hidden buyer. There is a hidden buyer at 60. Maybe that's why it screwed me so many times. That's 59. Somehow slipped in there.
Philadelphia.
Okay, looks like I'm finally full size again. Broke underneath the 60. Hope to see some continuation. Gonna have to see how it acts around the $half here. Broke right underneath it. It's good. Came right back. Alright, so far so good.
EVHC.
I need... okay. Well, I took half 54, so I guess I got some profit, but that thing's popped up as soon as I click that button. Taking another half. Ultimate profit target is this low, or it's actually 40.15 because that's where a big daily level was. So if it gets in the tens, I'm out. Son of a bitch. I meant to click it on 30, ended up waiting until 34, so that was just ridiculous. It's nice not being down $100 though, so I got a 60 some odd trade there. Unless I'm seeing something crazy, I'm gonna be done because that was just a mess of disaster, really. So we'll just have to see what happens later. I am in Excel right now. I got filled at 86, looking for the breakdown underneath of this wedge here. Profit target's gonna be either this or should probably make it the $0.50. Broke underneath, but we are right back. I'd like to see it keep moving some more here. Jeez, this thing is everywhere. Alright, I'm taking it. I got something I gotta do. I'll be right back. Okay, so midday recap. Things have been crazy this morning. It has been an hour, and everything has been everywhere. I've written down so many things I can't even think anymore. Up 14 for the moment. I just had to say goodbye to my girlfriend because she was leaving, and this thing was acting crazy, jumping up 20 cents at a time. I was just not one to deal with that, so I'll take it and walk away. Plus I'm finishing, I was down 100 at one point, so now I'm back up here. So it looks like I did dip down to underneath 50 here, and then came down and really tested this 50, and now it looks like the 50's holding. So I'm not gonna be done trading yet. I just really need to make sure that what I'm doing is the right thing. I don't want to be trading just to trade anymore because I've already done enough trading for today. But not gonna be done. Gonna keep pushing, see what else we can do, see what else we can find today, and we'll just have to see what happens. Okay, looking at JWN again here, making a descending triangle and kind of a falling wedge at the same time here. So I'm not entirely sure how this one's gonna play out, but it looks like I might get filled here in just a second. Alright, so okay, I am full size. Moved pretty quick there on me. Stop loss is going to be above, close back in the pattern, or above the 9. I don't really have a good profit target point here, and I hate to just give it an arbitrary number, but right now we're kind of trading in the middle of nothing. I don't really have a, that's a lie. Looks like 39.50 is going to be my profit target, because that is a significant daily level, but that is quite a ways away. Got a big seller here. It's 97. It's a good sign.
PSX.
Kind of got a little on both ends here. Got a decent buyer there at 90. Spread's getting kind of big here. Definitely want to see it underneath 90. Looks pretty good on the 5s as well. And this candle just started here, so gonna have to see what happens with it. Ooh. This is why we wait. Gotta wait for the candle to close. Just need to exit. Just need to get out. If it squeezes back up that much, it's not worth it. Yeah, now it's, I guess, depending on where you draw the line. It's gonna come right back. Jesus. Can't short it. It's not a triangle. It's a wedge. I'd be playing against the pattern if I shorted it. Right about now is the good spot to be getting in for a long, but I don't know. I've just about had it with this stock, really. I can't. Yeah, I'm just gonna pass. Okay, I'm in Excel again with 400 shares here.
TCG.
Looks like it clipped me in at 78 and shoved me right back here. I didn't take 500 shares. I'm only taking 400 shares on this one. So we got a lot of... Okay, we broke through it though. I want to have this just in case. Profit target's whole number. Looks really good on the fives as well. You can see we got another triangle coming here. The nine's kind of coming up on it. It's turning around real hard.
TCG.
Gotta wait for some kind of pullback on something like that. Okay, I gotta call it now. I'm doing a review in a minute. Okay, so it is finally time to do the big recap on the day. Today's ultimate lesson is that I need to be trading the fives, not the ones, because especially today, as well as really any other of these past days, you can see this is my traded on column. You can see, you know, for the past 3 trading days I'm trading on the ones, and especially today was the big day on the ones. But if I had switched my mind and decided to trade them on the fives, like my mentor always tells me and teaches me, then I would have had, you know, a much better day. So, doing a recap on everything, we will pretty easily see why. Okay, so the very first trade that I took on the day was JWN. Long 500 shares at 950. I was looking at this thing for a while, was on my watch list. So the first triangle that it was making was this one. I was playing a pretty close eye on it, trying to see what it wanted to do. I wanted to short it for pretty much this whole time. I thought it looked really good for a short. Let's see, it was 950. So the first one that I took was on this break of the triangle here. I was looking at those, but this will be much easier to do on this. That got really ugly looking all of a sudden. I don't know, does it look like that on Lightspeed? No, it doesn't, but it looks nasty on here. What is going on? I don't know why it looks so choppy. Alright, well maybe I will use Lightspeed then. I don't know why it looks like that. But first trade that I took was on this one here. On a new button. I believe it was something like this. So obviously I had a big run up at the open and then kind of consolidating more and more and more until we finally hit the squeezing point here. Made a really nice breakdown and then immediately goes straight back up past my entry, and I end up getting out somewhere over here. I believe it closes around here somewhere for a $50 loser on the day just to start. So I got in at 68. So I got in right about here on the break underneath the pattern. Looked really good because we had the VWAP, the 20 just finally caught up, and the 9. So I mean, had a whole bunch of resistance, but it still came right back up and ended up sitting above the VWAP. And I didn't really notice it at the time, but I think that candle that I entered on, no, I lied. Never mind. So I noticed that on the 5 that it's closing above the VWAP, and that's obviously pretty bullish. And you know, same over in these two candles here, and then you know, again, it closes above the VWAP, and then I'm trying to short it over here, and I mean, it's not a bad idea, or it's not a bad short necessarily, but if I gave it more time to set up, or if I was even looking at it for a long, it probably would have been a better trade. I'm trying to think of where I could have saved some money on this one, because I got out at 79. It's right about here. I mean, it wasn't close enough to where I wanted to take profits. I wanted to take profits around here, and my ultimate spot was low a day, but at least I wanted it to go into the 40s, and I mean, it was like a low of 55 or something like that, and I mean, it just snapped up real hard against me real quick. I mean, that's a 20-cent move that it broke down 20 cents, and then it came right back 20 cents to close at the VWAP. Probably, maybe a good exit sign. I mean, it was still, below all of these resistances, so I didn't really think that it was going to be that big of an issue, but I mean, it just kind of hovered around it above, so I mean, I ended up losing it. Wanted to take it again, so I shorted it again at, we're at 59, so I figured, okay, maybe it's just resetting. Traded again in a second. So 59, so that was right about here is where I shorted it, so it wasn't on this line, it was on this line. So I mean, it clipped me in right here at 65. Kinda didn't really make any moves or anything, and I was holding on to it. My stop loss is either closed back in the pattern or above VWAP or above the 9, it's whichever one comes first. So I mean, it's slowly grinding, and then it was really struggling with this 60 area, and then we had this huge candle which engulfed the entire move, and I ended up getting squeezed out on that one. And then of course it comes right back down and kind of does the same little patterns again, doing whatever, but then I was down 105 on the day. And usually my rules for myself is I either I stop trading after $100 losers or 3 losers in one day, but I gave this one another shot because I still really liked it. I wanted to short it again underneath over here, but going back to this trade, you can see on the 5s, it looks like it's starting to set up for a short again. Ends up coming back again for this 5-minute candle. And then the huge move was the next one. I don't know, these weren't terrible trades. It's just, I should have paid a little more attention to the 5s, and I probably shouldn't have taken the first trade just because of what the 5s were telling me. For a short, I shouldn't be looking to short it, I should be looking to long it. I mean, it squeezed me up super hard here, and I mean, I got out at the top of that candle. So I was at 76. So yeah, right where it closed, I got out at 76. I don't break at the VWAP, and then I mean, it's just kind of the way trading goes, I guess. Sometimes, I mean, it didn't hit my profit target, wasn't even really close. I just wanted to give it the time. I guess one thing that I noticed later on for the third trade that I took on it is that there was a hidden buyer at that 60 level. And I can't remember exactly where he showed up, but he did end up finally disappearing, and then as soon as he did, we made the final real move down. So in this case, I only took half size to start, and I wanted to add another half in later. So again, it's struggling both ways. It's struggling both for the long and for the short. And then finally on the 5s, you can really see it here. It's looking much better. Plus, if you draw it with the wicks on the 5s, it still looks like a really solid trade. So I ended up getting in a little bit at 61, and then I wanted to add underneath if it finally broke underneath 60, and this recent low here at about 56. I think it was I had it at 58, but I got filled at 56. So made a nice candle down. Immediately turned right back up again. I'm actually fairly surprised I didn't close out of this trade, because what was this? This was 11 and this was 15. Okay, so I entered, I think my candles and my times are a little messed up or something, so I entered over here, made a nice move down, made a really big move up. What I should have done is, because for this trade I made my profit target 40.50, and the reason I made it so short is because I just got done with two, $50 full dollar amount losers, and I wanted to, I wanted to lock in some money, really. So I mean, this thing clipped down to, looks like 40. Okay, I'm going back to my video because these times are all messed up and it's just not the same. So here's where I'm looking at it finally for a short, and that buyer was still there at that 60. So I mean, again, really good situation here. I mean, it's all three moving averages are or two moving averages above it plus the VWAP, so it looks got a bunch of resistance again. Still not a bad trade. And then finally get the breakdown. So this thing gets into the 40s. It went past my profit target. So I mean, I'm sitting at 47, but I'm not taking my profit target, or I'm not taking any profits. Even on that little bounce back there, I mean, I had plenty of opportunity to take it, and then the squeeze comes. We're sitting at 52, 53, 54, and then all of a sudden it jumps up 10 cents, and I click it at 56, which I got, honestly, I got pretty lucky, because that could have been, a $25 loser if I even clicked it just even a quarter of a second after when I did. But I still held on for my partial, for my last half anyway. I wanted to see it keep moving because that 20 still looks pretty good. It was holding the 20 anyway. I mean, again, and then this is where the real move came in. It's just, and it slowly starts grinding more and more and more. And then going back to this, I again didn't stick to my rules, and I either like to wait and see what it does at the low of day. And I guess in this case it was close enough, but not really. I had a daily points, or a daily support of 40.15 on this, but for my last partial I like to hold until it closes below the 9, or above the 9 in this case. So I mean, I missed out on another 30 cents or so, so it's just another case of not sticking to my rules. Plus, whenever I'm saying, I usually stop out whenever it closes the 9. If the 9 and the 20 are close enough like this, I'll wait to see what the 20 does. Because if the 20 acts like a good resistance and it's going to bounce off of it, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to hold for. And in the same situation for the 5s, it still looks good on the 5s. I mean, it's not, you can't really draw a triangle on the 5s that looks that good. I suppose that would work, but I mean, you want to go back to the 1s for your entry, and if you want to use your 1s for the entry, I also like to use the 1 for the trend line, because my entries are based off of what the stock does around the trend lines, and if I can draw the trend lines better on the 1s than the 5s, then I don't mind doing that. But I wanna make sure that I'm starting to trade on the 5s, because I'm not giving, all of these stocks that I've traded so far, these 3 trades that I've taken, they've all been less than 10 minutes. I mean, these are really short, quick trades. And if I'm holding out for the real move, I mean, I could have shorted JWN. What am I looking at? I could have shorted over here, and I probably, because this is my first trade right about here. Was it right? Yeah, my first short on this was right here, and if I just play this on the 5s, I could have skipped those other 2 trades, and I could have just held on to this thing for this whole move here if I was just playing it on the 5s, because this alone isn't enough reason for me to stop out of this thing, because I mean, it's still closing below the VWAP. Oops. So the first 3 trades of the day were pretty ridiculous. Obviously a lot to go over on those. Then second trade that I took was Excel. It was a rising wedge. I put falling. I meant to put rising. Rising wedge, pretty good trade, honestly. I had to exit a little early because I was kind of in a rush. Girlfriend situation. Plus, this stock was acting ridiculous at the time. So this is it if you draw it on the 5s. And then if you go to the 1s, it's obviously much cleaner on the 1s. It's not terrible on the 5s. I mean, it still makes sense, but it looks much better whenever you draw it on the 1s. I think that this is what I drew, but what I should have drawn was this, because this one looks much better than that one. I don't know why I keep exiting out of that. So this is the Excel trade. You can see that I did draw from the low a day there and then coming back up. I could have made it a little tighter, but if I made it a little tighter, I would have had to worry about the moving averages as well. So it probably would have been another half size and then added in a little bit later. But I mean, the thing made a pretty nice move. See, it's kind of bouncing around a little bit. And then all of a sudden, once it really breaks down a little bit here, you'll see the ass just go crazy. I mean, it's 74 and then it's just doing all of that. So as soon as I saw it hit the 50s, I was like, alright, forget this. I was down $105 at one point. I'm green. I'm going to exit on the 50s. I'm out. So I got out on that. What I should have done is taken half, but I had to go leave the computer for a minute, because if I took half, would have gone all the way down to the 50, which should have been my ultimate profit target. It looks like I wrote down 50 cents was my my big profit target, but I mean, thing went down even more. Could have been an even bigger winner. Another situation where I'm just losing money. In that case, I guess I'm not gonna say there wasn't anything I could have done about it, but I wanted to exit the trade, so I did. Third trade that I took, just kidding, fifth trade that I took was on JWN again. This was a pretty stupid trade. This one, I was looking at it saying, okay, we have a descending triangle. And that wasn't it. This was it, because it looks even better on the video. I might as well just do the video. Oh, that was my everyday recap thing. So I was looking at it. Okay, so it is a falling wedge, but I looked at this and said, you know, it's only barely a falling wedge, and if it's barely a falling wedge and it's around that whole number like it is right now, maybe it's just a descending triangle, right? A descending triangle. So I decided to play it short. I liked the moving averages coming down on it. You can see that the 5 was coming down on it. We're below VWAP. We're below any daily points. I mean, the next daily point was 39.50, and I made that my profit target, which is very far away, especially for, you know, trading 500 shares. Means I'm aiming to get almost $250 out of that, which is pretty crazy, but I mean, that's what I said, that's what I saw, that's what I did. So obviously this is a bullish pattern, but I decided to short it. I mean, I made a decent little move, I guess, but it doesn't really do anything afterwards, and you know, it pops back up, comes back to the pattern. So I was waiting for that candle to close, and then I give it, you know, an extra tick, and that's about it. And then I get out at 40.04 for another $50 loss. $30 loss. Switching me back to minus 30 on the day, so I guess it's more like 40. So yeah, it's about a $40-$50 loss. So in this case, now I should be thinking, okay, if it's gonna break underneath that whole number like that and come back, well, then this has got to be a long. And wedges definitely work out much better on the 5s than they do the 1s, because the 1s you can see all of these resistances that it's got to break through, whereas on the 5, it's just, you know, your profit target can be the 9. But this thing actually moves even further before it makes the real move. So on the 5s it looks pretty good here. You can take it for a long above the whole number or something, but I didn't do that. I sat and watched this thing. I didn't want to reshort it, because shorting it in the first place was a stupid idea. So actually what I want to do with this one, I want to label this one an error trade. I think because today was just crazy with my emotions were all over the place. I mean, stocks were moving. I was getting faked out like crazy. I was taking trades that I didn't have, you know, 100% confidence in it. And then I just took this trade and it was another loser, and I was like, forget this. I'm done trading it. I don't want to trade it anymore. You can see on the ones, I guess it kind of starts breaking out a little bit, but yeah, you can see on the 5s here, this is right here. This is exactly where I should be entering. I mean, my profit target could have been the 5 on the 9, and I mean, it reached it, it hit it, so I would have hit my point. You know, looking back at the 1s, there's a way to make this look a little bit better here. Yeah, that's about as good as it'll get. Looking back at the 1s, I mean, it breaks out, comes back, touches the 9, and then it really takes off there. I mean, this is like a 3-minute trade that would have hit my profit target. Stop loss, I probably would have entered at 5, risking maybe, no, I want to say 6 cents. 6 cents is too tight, so probably another 10-cent trade. This is another, you know, could have been a $100 winner right there if I traded the actual pattern, because I mean, this is a perfect situation where you're looking at the 50 is finally coming into play on this stock at the 26.27, and then the 5 is also at 26.27, so that's perfect. I mean, it bounced right off of where it should have bounced off. If I should have taken my profits, left it at that. I mean, I would have been green on the day if I took that trade, because I mean, that was the right trade to be taking. And then finally, the last trade that I took was this Excel. I don't really know what I was doing on this one. I saw a triangle, I took a triangle. That's basically all I did. I wrote symmetrical. It's kind of a bull flag triangle. Yeah, it's a bull flag. I mean, again, if I trade it on the 15s, I win. If I trade it on the 5s, it's a very slow winner, but it's a win. But instead, I traded it on the 1s, and it's a loser, because I only waited 3 minutes to decide whether or not it was going to be a winner or a loser, and my emotions were already absolutely everywhere. So I mean, I don't know. What do you really expect? What am I looking at? So I took it at 52. So I was looking at it way over here. Definitely this triangle right here. Kind of got a bull flag. Ugly looking bull flag on the 1s, but bull flag nonetheless. Trying to find maybe a different pattern or something that could have shown up, because that's where I got stopped out, and that's where I was looking at it. So I mean, in this case, it looks pretty good too. But I drew this. That is not from the low of day. No, there's no way that's from the low of day. So I took it looking to get long. Only took 400 shares on it because I was already down 30 bucks. So it hits up there. My profit target was 32, the whole number. Bumps up a little bit. And then I'm re-looking at it on the fives. I didn't trade it on the fives, this is kind of ridiculous because I'm looking at it on the fives right now, and I say, okay, hey, that looks pretty good. That doesn't look bad at all. But I'm even staring at it right now. I'm looking at it, and for some reason my thought process wasn't, okay, well, it went down to the trend line. That's fine. If I traded it on the fives, it's still, you know, in effect. But I didn't. I didn't wait at all. I saw it had a huge breakdown just like that, and I was like, okay, on a huge move like that, I know you want to wait just a little bit for a pullback, because, you know, moves like that don't really happen that quickly, that fast. So I said, okay, I'll wait. And then it pops down, and I get out at 57 finally. And I mean, if I just traded on the fives, that's all it took. If I just traded on the fives, I would have been patient enough and, you know, waiting for it to close. I mean, it did what it should have done, really. I mean, it bounced off of the bottom of the trend line, and if anything, I could have taken a smaller size, but for whatever reason, I didn't recognize it. It probably had to do with emotions running all over the place, just noticing my profit, or my P&L being down $100 again probably made me freak out. I don't know, there was too much. There was just a lot going on today. I don't know, I guess I couldn't really handle it. I wasn't really prepared for it, which is a real shame because, you know, looking back at all this, there's plenty of opportunity for money to be made, and I didn't do it. I just wasn't there today. So I mean, definitely a disappointing day, but you know, every day is a good learning experience. So things to take away from this is absolutely use bigger time frames. Trade bigger time frames when, you know, you get the chance to, because that's where the real money is made. The money isn't made on the ones. I mean, you can make money on the ones, but going back to my old scalping habits, if I can make money on the ones, I can make money on the fives. And if I make money on the fives, that means I can take profit targets on the ones. And I don't have a problem doing that. If I'm trading it on the fives or even the ones and it hits my profit target, I'm still going to take half no matter what. So if it gets my profit target, that's the other thing I need to work on. I need to take my profit targets. Take my profits at my profit target. Things were really fast today, so whenever I was writing these down in my trading journal, I didn't have enough time to write down everything that I wanted to write down, so that was another issue that was going on. Trend lines on the ones also equal trend lines on the fives, including wicks. So if I want to trade the ones, which I'm not just going to not stop trading the ones, but I need to pay attention to the fives more, because trading on the ones and drawing trend lines on the ones usually results in like a cleaner triangle. Not always, but sometimes, most of the time for me, in which cases I'm noticing. But that doesn't mean that I can't draw trend lines on the fives. I just need to use the wicks. So that's like another just another support or resistance point to be aware of, or possibly even entries and exits, depending on what I'm looking at the time. But lots of practicing to do today. I'm going to go take a walk, try and clear my mind a little bit, and I will for sure be back again ready to trade tomorrow.